Okay, here we go. A new piece of crap motor. Here's one of these M8 Harleys. So here's the first one I've seen apart. So here's what they look like, in case you were wondering. They're very low profile. Here's what the other side looks like. I'm sure the rocker is going to be really stiff. Look how long it is. A little crappy little thin ass shaft. I'm sure there's no flex involved. So it looks like they're making a pan head out of it to me, because a big pan cover here. So it almost looks like a, maybe like a Yamaha now. Maybe they copied them. The ports are pretty good on them, so I think maybe they had someone besides Harley engineered the ports. I can't see them doing it. Anyway, they're pretty nice. They're bigger. They're really big. They're a lot bigger here. 1.9 inches instead of 1.6 like the twin cam is. So over a quarter inch bigger. But they're really big through the throat, which is going to kill the velocity. Easy if you do a 4-valve motor, you have like twin ports coming up like a tri-Y design would be. Pick up a lot of power, but no, they don't do that. That'd be too easy. But anyway, the ports are pretty decent. There's not a lot of stuff in the way. They're nice and smooth castings, so obviously they're not made here. So there's a couple little hiccups in them, but not too much. They're nice radiuses is pretty much where there's radius is. This is a pretty sharp drop off, which I don't like, but it's a plastic intake manifold too. He brought that in for a minute. So basically all the work that's going to be done on these is in the seat area, unshrouding the valves here, and opening up the bowl right in here to where it matches down here. Especially on the exhaust. The exhaust is really constipated coming through here, real small. So there's plenty of room to open up the exhaust. So once again, once you get to the port though, the port's really big. So kind of flows into this one pretty heavy, but at least there's a little bit of an angle to it, so it's not real bad. So anyway, that's how they look. They're pretty straight in, so not bad. Like I said, good design. So I'm sure Harley didn't engineer this thing, someone else did. But I don't know why they got the valves so close together to the cylinder and so wide here. They're really shrouded on the sides over here. So where you're going to open them up is right here. The other thing I don't understand is we got a 4 1/8 inch head gasket cut out on a 4-inch bore motor. Kind of stupid. So that's not going to help the smog. This is a 114 motor. I think they had a label on it. Yeah, look at this stupid label. Isn't that stupid? Bolt-on crap. Take that thing off and throw in the dumpster. So anyway, I don't know what they're trying to do on that. Got all kinds of stuff all over the place here. I don't know what all this crap does. I'm sure it's something really important though. They got little dinky ass keepers. They're 6mm valves. The springs are crappy looking. They got the same slip-on collars like all the modern Jap cars do it. And the twin cam. So they got a beehive spring. The head runs really hot. Look how it burns the valve springs. That's not good for them. So, like I said, you got 6mm stems on them. The valve spring kits are very expensive for these motors. Look how hot the exhaust gets on this thing, the head. So this is 600 degrees there, and this is probably getting close to 700 here because that looks like it's turned cherry red down here. It's actually burnt the valve spring, so I'm sure these springs are probably softened up a little bit. This bike has no carbon at all on the exhaust port. This is not the intake, this is the exhaust. There's no carbon in it. Completely burned off. Carbon burns at 900 degrees, in case you didn't know. So there's no carbon in this motor. The springs are over here. Sit on the head here. They're on top of the steel. They're on top of this piece of steel that doesn't do much for insulating the spring. So the exhaust port is really thin up in here, the head. See, they got the big port underneath here. There's not much material right through here. It's real thin. So you can see how hot the oil was over here, which cooks the springs. And That was probably an intake spring. So when the springs get that hot, they start losing tension. Then they can break, but mainly lose tension. Look how hot this one got. It's 3 coils up turned blue. Really, really hot. So that's a problem. Now the oil cooling that they do on these things, basically it goes in through that hole and comes out through that hole. It goes up in this area here, and I guess it's supposed to keep it cool, but obviously it doesn't do a very good job. So it comes out this hole, goes back into this hole, and the cylinder has just a little bit of a boss right across between here. That's about the thickness of the gasket, and that's how much oil flow you get. So there's almost no oil flow across. So that means the oil going through here is really sitting in here, just getting really hot and baked in. So I foresee the problem with these is these holes are going to get plugged up from cooked oil that's turned to carbon inside. It's going to choke it all up, and it's going to cut the oil flow off, and it won't have any cooling to it. And there's not a lot of fins on this motor, as you can tell. The only fins are way over here and way over here. So I'm not blowing away, blow back up. So there's not hardly any finning on this exhaust over here where you need it, and there's nothing on the intake like always. So I'm not seeing a lot of cooling going on here. And the reason they're oil cooled is because they got this big pan cover, so I'm sure they're not flooding oil up in here, but they should. And it looks like this is all exposed in the middle right here, but you can see there's no airflow, it's solid. So it's not like there's any air coming up through here. So they got a big, like, what are they going to call this, an O motor? It makes an O? Maybe they'll call it a U motor. A U. Is that going to be the new motor name for this thing? So, anyway, you know, they depend on the oil to cool the motor because there's no air cooling. Very little air cooling on this thing. So, oh well. See how long they last. More goes an ambulance. So I was looking for the parts. What's available out there is not much available. So basically, you got S&S is supposed to have a spring kit. I heard. I haven't seen it yet. It's not in the book, so maybe it's online. I haven't looked into it yet. Kibble White makes a spring set, which I'm going to get because they're only $250 for the steel collar, and for the titanium they were 300 or low 2 and mid 2s, I forget. Anyway, it's about another $80 difference for titanium collars versus steel collars. You don't need titanium collars. There's no collar here. Shit, how much weight you got here? Come on. There's nothing. Waste of time. No keeper. There's no weight. You don't need a titanium. And titanium wears out and causes issues. Steel will last. So it's stupid to go to anything except steel. You have to use a keeper because it's the design of the valve. Until there's a different valve design, you're stuck with that keeper. So that's limited. The other valve spring out there was someone else. I forget who it was. I forget. Oh well, doesn't matter. They were over $300, so I got a set of springs coming in tomorrow. We'll see what they look like. It's the Kibble Whites. Should be good stuff. Their stuff's pretty good anyway. It's just pricey. I don't know why springs have to cost $300, but whatever. I'm sure there's a reason for it. So this is going to have a turbo on this bike, and these are supposed to be SE heads, but the valves are stock diameter, even though they said they were oversized. So I don't know what's going on. To me, it looked like it's a stock piece of crap head. So these are Scream Eagle. That doesn't say anywhere. So I'm thinking they're just production heads. I think the guy told him a fib and he believed him. So this is basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a valve job on it. We're going to back cut the valves here. We got that big lip right there. Put some good springs in it so the turbo boost won't affect it. And you can rev it up a little bit if you want. We're going to unshroud the intake a little bit right in here. And we're going to unshroud the exhaust a lot right through the choke point here. And unshroud on the outside up in here on all the 4 spots, and that's about it. That's pretty much what I do on all 4 valve motors. I used to do a lot of that on old Henderson Excelsior motors and a couple of V-rods I actually worked on, but, or, you know, the head part anyway. They're all the same thing. It doesn't matter how many valves are in. It's the same issues. You got to unshroud stuff and make the ports good. So it doesn't matter what it is. So it's all on the details. The ports are good the way they are, so there's not much to be done to them. So just concentrate on the bowl area right here and, you know, the valve seat area. That's the important stuff anyway. the closer you are to the valve seat, the more important it is. So we'll be within a ½ inch of the valve seat, all the work we're going to do. So it's pretty critical. So we'll make it work. So anyway, that's what's going to happen. So I'm going to go get these all blasted up. Get all the carbon out of here, which little carbon is right here. All blasted so it's nice and clean, so I get a better idea what it looks like inside here. And I'll clean up these valves. I'm going to be reusing all these, so I can get all the carbon off of them. So we'll get all this stuff cleaned up, and we'll be back tomorrow to get going on these things, or at least probably next week I'll play with them. I'm not sure. Got a lot of stuff to do around here. So we'll work on these a little bit, see what happens, and see what the customer says. I don't know if he's ridden the bike too much yet, so I don't know if he even knows how much power it puts out right now. But we'll see. But either way, we'll figure it out. So, yeah, that's it for now.